So in this week's Breakfast of Champions, which airs every Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter live, I just chose my topic, and it's going to be about how to make more sales in 2019. And this is going to apply to anyone in sales. It doesn't even necessarily need to be, home loan origination, purchase, refinance, or anything like that. This just happens to be just the overall topic of how to make more sales. And so even if you're not a loan officer, or even if you happen to work in a completely different industry, you should still definitely tune in. But more importantly, hit the subscription button with the bell, and you'll be notified of any other topics that I upload and that have any relevance to this game called sales. And so the reason why I'm choosing this topic is because, I think as human beings, it's our nature to typically overcomplicate things. And I've noticed this to be true with the newer class. Over the last couple of weeks, I've had an opportunity to share some time with some of the new up-and-comers within my company and organization, as well as also interact with some of the newer generation coming into this industry from all across the country, because they're hitting me up on my, on my DM, my private messages on social media. And one of the common, comments that I get is, hey, I just started, or hey, I'm in the process of getting licensed, or hey, I'm taking my test next week. And I think that the common trend, or at least one of the common topics or subjects that are brought up from these individuals are, what can I do? Is there anything you could recommend? Any books, any training manuals, anything that I could start doing right now so that I can hit the floor running? Which is a compliment, because they obviously are inspired to win, right? They definitely want to immediately become successful. And I noticed that, besides us wanting to overcomplicate things as human nature, we also tend to be impatient. And so that's fine. I'm impatient as they come, so I completely get it and I relate. So the reason why I want to make the topic in this week's live stream, Breakfast of Champions, Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, about how to make more sales in 2019 is because I think we kind of overlook one thing, and it's that sales in itself really is about serving value, right? It's I don't want to sound cliche or anything, but I think we just really need to kind of take a step back and really look at it for what it is. And all we are servants. If you could have, just the audacity to look at yourself as a servant and put your ego to the side, I think you're just going to be successful, period. But if you do it in a professional manner where you're more focused about the results that your prospect will receive, and really be kind of invested into it. And I think it's important to be invested emotionally into the results you give, because sales, in my opinion, I believe is an emotional sport. And so when you communicate your results, or you offer your product or service, I think it's key, and it is absolutely important to remember what it is that person's trying to achieve, what they're trying to do, right? Because we just all in general, like whenever we need to solve a problem, we're more influenced and more motivated to take action as long as we know that solves a problem. It's kind of like going to the bathroom, right? Like we will pull over, we will run, we'll do anything to get to a toilet, because that toilet is our solution. And so when you understand that concept, and you understand that you can only hold it for so long, right? Like you have to relieve yourself. And I don't want to kind of use urine or feces as kind of an example, but I want you to understand that is kind of an emotional push. It's something that is literally, it's all at that moment in time is that you need to relieve yourself. And I think that same concept applies to everyday consumers, because when we look at it at that extent, and you might think like, but D, man, people are not going to look at refinancing that way. Well, actually they are. Or the people are not going to look at buying a real estate that way. Well, actually they will, because you need to kind of give it that push. You need to present it in this way where they need to do it now. They just absolutely need to do it. They need to relieve themselves. And what I found is that in sales, it's not necessarily about tap dancing the best. It's not necessarily about price. It's not even necessarily about how cool your logo looks. what matters most is how applicable it is to that particular person. And so the more relevant you make your message or your solution or your service to that individual that you're communicating with, the more likely that they'll take action on securing that service. And so there's a difference between saying, you know, I can lower your payment versus I can lower your payment so you can A, B, and C. Does that make sense? So it's a little bit more fine-tuned. It's a little bit more applicable to them and their scenario and their situation. But on top of that, you need to also give that sense of social proof, because just like it's human instinct to overcomplicate things, it's also human instinct to want to do what everyone else is doing, what the community is doing. That makes sense? So if you think about your inner pocket of friends, and if they all kind of gravitate, let's just use Netflix for example, if they all gravitate towards this one show and they're all talking about it, chances are you're probably going to invest your time to go look into it, right? You're going to go watch it too. And even if you may not necessarily like it, you'll find reasons to like it or find reasons to make time to consume that media. And so the same thing happens with our service. And so if we talked about it in a way where we give it its own social proof and we make it applicable to them, you know, one of the favorite things I like to do is apply their city or their community and give them information about what other homeowners in the area are doing, what other home buyers in the area are doing, because it makes it applicable to them. Does that make sense? So imagine your hometown. Think of your city right now. If someone told you that everyone within your city was doing this one thing, you'd be a little bit more interested, wouldn't you? Now imagine how, if you were, you know, if you take everyday products and everyday solicitations and you really think about some of the genius marketing that's available, you're going to find that they share a common thread, and that common thread is personalization. It's about personalizing the product or the service to that individual. And the most creative ways of marketing is going to be by doing it through storytelling. Does that make sense? So if you think about your everyday commercial, or you think about your everyday kind of solicitation, you have two different kinds. You got one that's just pitching you, rah, 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 like it's just selling you, like buy now, buy this, buy that. Or you have the more creative form of marketing, which is kind of giving a little bit of a history and a little bit of a story that makes it applicable to that individual. So you might be watching a solicitation. It's not selling you, but it's just showing you how the common people who are like you are using that particular product or service to improve the quality of their life, and you, with hopes that you will relate to that individual who you see within the story or you hear about within the story, that you can also experience the improvement in the quality of your life because you might share something in common with that particular person. And so I guess where I'm getting at is in order to really make sales in 2019, you know, first off, you're going to want to stay close to Sales Remastered. You're going to want to plug in and tune into the live stream tomorrow, which is, you know, you're going to catch us on Wednesday, but it's going to be tomorrow, Thursday, and Thursday the 14th, which happens to be the 2nd year anniversary of launching Sales Remastered. So I hope you join me, because I got a special announcement. I got a special way of celebrating. And I'm going to start it off right, and I'm going to give you some keys on how to make more sales, because I believe that if you can make more sales, then you can drive better results. And if you could drive better results, then you can increase your income. And if you can increase your income, you can find security. And if you can find that security, that gives you freedom. It gives you freedom knowing that you could do it over and over and over again. It gives you the ability to provide for your family, for yourself, and for those that you love and that you care about the most. And that, my friend, is how you find happiness. That, my friend, is how you prosper. And I think that by giving as much content as I give on this channel, not only does it grow, but it influences you to share it, right? Have you shared Sales Remastered with anybody? Have you talked about it to anybody? And the reason why you do that is because you feel kind of like this reciprocity about it, right? Like you have to reciprocate. Like you know, like you hear me all the time say, hey man, hit the like button, you know, comment. And I appreciate all those of you who actually do take the time to comment. It really helps me. It helps me with my algorithm, you know, in spreading the brand awareness. But also, even if you don't like or you don't comment, I get it, but at least talk to those around you about the content you find here. And if there's any helpful information, definitely share the link or at least share the page, and help each other, right? I think that's key, because if you radiate this energy of wanting to help and serve, you're just naturally going to attract what it is you want. It's just plain and simple. And whether you call it the laws of nature, you call it the laws of attraction, or whatever hippie guru shit you want to call it, I think it's just good karma. It's just good energy. It's good vibes. It's good frequency. And if you can get on that level where you got that good vibe, you got that good frequency, man, that's happiness, bro. That's what's going to get you out of your rut and kind of have you looking at things in a different way. And my goal is to help open your eyes to look at our craft in a different way. So stay tuned for tomorrow's live stream, Breakfast of Champions. It's going to be an amazing show, and I'm going to share with you some key tools to use to make more sales in 2019 so you can rise above. And I'll see you at the top. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to comment. Please share the link of this video with someone who you believe can use it for their advantage. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Now I'm up, get my whole squad up. We ain't never gonna give up. Rich as fuck, I could never hear. Diamonds in my ear, say this clear. I could never feel. This gonna be my year.